Hello, I'm Dean McKnight, and welcome to another edition of Taking Back Our Neighborhoods, a community outreach program of Operation Our Town. Today we've got a really special show. We're going to talk to the people that make Operation Our Town possible, the people that support it financially and visually and vocally in our communities and in your neighborhood. I got to start out with two very special guests this morning. I'm going to start with ladies first, not only because she's obviously more attractive, but probably smarter. Lisa Michelone. Lisa, good morning.
Good morning, Dean.
And Bill Thompson, everybody's favorite pharmacist. That's it. Bill and I went to speech class together. Let's start with a couple introductions. Lisa, tell us your name and tell us a little about yourself.
Lisa Michelone. I work at Reliance Bank. I've been there for 22 years. I worked with Dean, actually, at Mid-State Bank prior to that, and I work in the marketing department.
Okay. You're not just working in marketing, you're head of the marketing, right?
Yes.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Mr. Bill.
I'm Bill Thompson from Thompson Pharmacy. I've been there 50 years, and they finally got rid of me. But you know what? I couldn't stay away, so I go in every day, and I really enjoy it.
And people enjoy you, Bill.
Thank you.
You may be one of the most famous people in town.
Oh,
everybody knows Bill Thompson. And I hope you guys get to know these people better because they're special people and special supporters of our organization. Lisa, tell me about how Reliance got involved. What was the thought process behind it?
Luckily, we were one of the first businesses that the founding fathers of Operation Our Town spoke with and talked about to get support. And 8 years ago, Tim Sisler obviously was who they spoke with and was very energetic about the program and knew the people that were running this program were going to be successful, and we wanted to be behind it all the way.
And tell me, was there much consternation about it was a substantial financial contribution?
Not at all.
Really?
No.
Board of directors, everybody
Yes.
said this is the thing to do?
Yes. They were very much in favor of it.
Bill, this is an organization with a board of directors, but you own your business, and you and your son run it. Tell me about your thought process.
Well, we had seen so much happening in the pharmacy business about what was going on around town that we wanted to join immediately. It's needed. They've done a great job, and that's why we joined.
And we're proud of you. Thank you. A lot of organizations are, jumped on board, but you guys were some of the first and most initial people. What do you think why was it important to your business, Lisa?
Unfortunately, drugs and crime go hand in hand, and we at that point had seen some robberies taking place, and we knew the crime in the area was not great. So we wanted to support it because the safety and security of our customers and our employees is very important, and we saw this as being an outlet to help in that area.
There's a lot of talk. I hear business people talking about the problem of employees who become drug addicted and unknown to their associates, and you have problems internally. Was any of that thought process, not that one of your employees had done it, but was there ever the thought that potentially it could happen to you?
I'm sure there was a potential there, but that was not our prime reason. It was more for the safety and security area that we were looking at.
Okay, and Bill, I'm sure in your case there were people getting robbed with guns and doing crazy things.
We were one of them. And if you've ever had a gun pointed at you, and it's not a good experience. We had a lot of employees that thought about quitting after that, had to lay down on the floor, and it puts a lot of fear in them about their position. People have been with us for 30 years, so those kind of things you don't like to see, and that's why we wanted to give back to our hometown, and that's why we did it.
Bill, what was the reaction of your employees when your employees found out what you were doing? What was their reaction?
It was good. It was all good because they saw what was happening day to day. I mean, this goes more than the drugstore, but we saw how many prescriptions were fake, doctor shopping and all that, so we knew this is where we needed to be.
And how about you, Lisa? How did your employees react to your involvement?
they were very supportive of it. They knew, of course it was initial, so nobody knew what the results would be, but today we can see the numbers speak for themselves, so they were very supportive of our efforts.
You mentioned the term results, and I'm going to have to tell you the truth. There are times, as enthusiastic I am about the work of Operation Our Town and what we've done, there are times when I pick up the morning paper and I say, is there no end to the crazy things these people are doing? And I say, are we making any progress? Can you tell the difference, Bill? Tell me what the latest news on the situation.
I can tell you that it's made a difference. We see that in retail theft. These people have a habit, had to steal things for money to buy the heroin, etc. And our retail theft is down. But the best thing that's down are the stats that Operation Our Town keeps. And the number of push-to-pusher calls is decreased from the beginning. It's almost half. And then the number of addicts that they have are decreased too. But I think it's working. It's slow. It's a slow process. People want to sell drugs first. But they know, the good thing about now, they know what they're going to get. Because I have to tell you that our judges have been tremendous about, there's not very much leniency when you do this, especially with a gun. You're gonna pay the price. Good, and you should pay the price.
Yes, you should. You should pay the price.
You're right.
And Lisa, how about you?
We actually, there's a lot of issues with banks. I mean, we have the suspicious activity reports. We have a lot of counterfeits. I mean, we have to look at all of that. So our front line needs to be on the ball, and we've upped our training. We've looked at more thorough training in those areas. So we've been doing the training. I don't want to jinx anything, but we have not seen robberies in our area for a long time either. So.
And like I said, and again, this push out the pusher hotline, the calls may be down, but it's still an important asset to our community, folks. You can help. You can do something. You're not powerless. If you think there's something going wrong, you need to get involved. Call somebody. Get in touch with people and say, look, here's the situation. They're professionals. They'll know how to handle it, and they'll do it the right way and protect you. Tell me, what about your family? Bill, tell me about your family. I know you have some grandchildren and whatever.
It's a look into the future for our community. Is one of the big reasons and for all the young people alive, once you get taking heroin, it's very hard to get off of it. And we don't want any of our children, grandchildren, but most of all the citizens of this community to be on heroin. And that's how we looked at it more than anything.
And Lisa, how about you?
Same thing. I mean, honestly, with my nieces and nephews and seeing how the little ones and growing up, we just don't want them to get involved in the first place. So I think all the programs that Operation Our Town offers are great programs and hopefully will benefit everybody. So,
we heard a young man about 2 programs ago talk about the approach to these children as young as 6. To do something. And now I hear about the legalization of marijuana and this and that and the confusion among products. Bill, how does a pharmacist, all these things get crazy names and different things. How do you stay on top of that?
Well, we try and read as many journals as we can. We go to conventions and all those educational things, but there is a lot, and the new drugs that they're trying, it's just amazing what they'll try. They'll try anything to get a high, and we want to prevent that.
Like, I still don't understand. You're a pharmacist. You may understand and be able to explain this to me. I don't understand this bath salts thing. How do people get high on bath salts?
Well, they make it, and it's made of a cold product called Sudafed, which is a very common cold medication. And we had to take Sudafed and put it behind the counters because they were using so much of it. So now it's you can sell it on a 1-per-1 basis, and they put a limitation on it. And so they've stopped a lot of that. But they found out the formula, how to make it at home. Maybe they made it in a bathtub. What do I know?
Well, smart man. I want to tell you how smart. When we were going to high school together, Bill and I, Bill was named the outstanding student, and I was just asked to go out and stand. Lisa, what advice would you have for other businesses that maybe haven't been as involved as they might be? What advice would you have for them?
Dean, I think every business is affected in some way by the drug and the crime. I mean, no matter how small the business is, when they get the people that are addicted get desperate, they'll do anything. So I think any business could be affected negatively. So I think every business out there should be supporting Operation Our Town in one way or another. And there's lots of opportunities, whether it's financial or supporting through volunteerism.
Bill, how about you?
I feel the same way, Dean. You can be a volunteer if you don't have the money, and certainly this is one of the best things that's ever happened in Altoona, let me tell you. And I'm very pro Operation Our Town, and it's done a great job, and it's going to do better things too because they're getting enough funding. I mean, this funding when it started was nothing, and they're up to like $2.7 million now they're bringing in to help battle this.
And they've distributed that money wisely. To the young people, to the preschool, but K7 or something, or K something, and so it's not just one area. They're approaching the treatment, the prevention, the prosecution. They're doing the whole thing.
Mm-hmm.
The police department's done a wonderful job. Our police department, they're on it.
It's a great community, isn't it?
Yes, it is.
It is.
We want to keep it that way. That's right.
Well, and we are keeping it that way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
I remember when this organization first started, and most people didn't understand it. I thought that they borrowed the idea from some other area, but these our business people actually originated this and created it, and now other people are copying them. Because it worked.
Because it works.
Because it worked. And the enthusiasm just keeps building and building. It breaks my heart when I hear employers come in and say they get 12 people in that they're ready to hire, and they tell them it's time for the drug test, and some
they don't show up.
You know, isn't that sad?
That, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Bill, what would you do if as a druggist, you're behind a counter and somebody comes in and you're suspicious that they're having problems? Tell me, how would you handle that? If you thought I needed help, would you say to me, look, I can get you treatment?
Well, you need help.
I do need help. I do need help.
You walked right into that.
You opened yourself up for help. Well, it's difficult, Dean, because a lot of them just don't want to hear it. If you go out and talk to them and say, would you mind going here and there for some help? And they don't want to hear it. They went on this fast train to getting high. It's sad. It's really sad.
It really is. Like I said, I just don't understand. These young people keep saying, we need something to do. We need something to keep us busy. And I'm thinking, are they just not looking around, or what's going on here? This society we're in, I mean, there's so much in this area, the recreation, the opportunities, the jobs that go unfilled. And yet, here we are still talking about drugs and drug enforcement. And if you could change anything, Lisa, if you could reach out and change one thing to make it a better place, what would you do?
Wow, that's a good question. I'd probably give them more education on what better things there are to do. I mean, if they can't, I don't know how they cannot know how damaging all these drugs are to their body, to their family, to their lives all around. So probably to educate them and make them maybe see a little bit of the future and how they're going to look, and maybe they would change their mind. But
that's an interesting statement, how they're going to look. Boy, I see some rough people out there. Their teeth have fallen out, their eyes are sunken, it tears your heart out.
It does.
And you're saying, why can't these people get control? And yet, I guess we're all susceptible to this. We all need to be ready to defend ourselves against the possibility.
I think the stat is that only one out of 10 gets off of heroin once they start it. And that's the baby we
One
don't
out of
want.
10, Bill.
Yeah.
1 out of 10.
Not good. And I know we used to do a drug abuse program, another pharmacist and I. We went around to all the high schools and did fire halls and did this thing. We had an addict that went with us, and he was supposed to be clean, so we felt proud of him, and we put him behind the screen and went around and did that for I don't know how many years, but you know what? He died. He went back, and he died. It's sad because he was out promoting drug abuse, and he ends up doing it too. So it's one of the things that happen.
It's sad. I'm sad to say it, but I have become judgmental. I see people in a restaurant, and I say, this person's a drug addict. I don't know that, and it's not fair for me to make those assumptions, but I do. And you just hope your own family. We've had some stories here that just tear your heart out about families, good families. It's not bad families.
It's not.
It's good people that go bad. And Bill, how about you? If you could change something, what would you change?
Burn all the heroin in the country.
Yeah.
Well, that would be a start, wouldn't it?
Well, you can't do that, but we don't use it in pharmaceutically at all. It's just out on the street drug. So it's just something that they can't get out of that fix they get in. And
is heroin made artificially, Bill? It's not a product like a derivative of a weed or something like corn oil.
you thought about marijuana?
No, heroin. Yeah.
I know what you're doing.
Heroin. It's the whole product is artificial.
Yeah.
Who produces this stuff?
I don't know. The addicts, I guess.
Well, but I mean, and then they make meth too. And so we have like little factories going around.
That's what happens in the bath salts. They burn up the bathtub and they have a fire in wherever they're making it, and the place burns down. It's more than just, making the drug. It's bad.
Ladies and gentlemen, I want to tell you something. We've been talking here for a couple minutes with two people that I feel very close to. Lisa and I worked together for many years, and I've watched Lisa's career mature and blossom, and she's become a dynamic force in our community. And I kind of grew up with Bill. He was from a different neighborhood. Bill came down in Juniata, and sometimes when you think there's not opportunity in the world, I mean, here's a guy that went to work in a drugstore when he was in high school, wound up owning the drugstore, has created opportunities in this community with several drugstores, and given a lot back. And Bill,
That's what I want to do, Dean. I want to give back.
I want to tell you personally, thank you. You're a good man, and you've done a lot. And we have people like that every day, ladies and gentlemen. And we're going to interview another couple people just like that in a minute. So come right back, and we'll be here waiting for you. Thank you. Thank you.
Overlooking the city of Altoona, the Booker T. Washington Park had lost its luster. With that in mind, Operation Our Town and the Central Blair Recreation and Park Commission, in collaboration with the NAACP, set out to give back to the community.
The court was in bad shape. It needed some new backboards, rims. There was cracks. There was grass growing up onto the court itself.
New additions to the park will include a renovated basketball court, playground for families and friends, fitness stations, and a walking path.
I can't wait till everything is done so I can bring my grandkid to play in the playground.
Kids can use it for whatever their imagination brings them.
Members of the community already have noticed a difference.
Stuff for the kid to do to keep him out of trouble.
Welcome back. My guest now is a young man by the name of Matt Stuckey, a good-looking young man. And as far as I can determine, the purpose of this interview is threefold. One, Matt's going to share his vast amount of knowledge with us about Operation Our Town and maybe the automobile business. Two, he's going to make me look really fat. And three, he's going to make me look really old. So if you think your television set is blurry right now, that's just the wrinkles, folks. Bear with us a little bit. Welcome, Matt. Good to see you.
Thanks for having me.
Thank you. Matt, tell us a little bit about yourself.
Well, I am the third generation of my family running a automobile business in Hollidaysburg, and excited to have the opportunity to chat a little bit here today about something that I think is really important to not only this city, but our whole community here in Blair County, which is Operation Our Town.
Well, thank you. And I have to tell you, I knew your grandfather,
Okay.
Will Stuckey.
Yeah.
He was a fine man, a gentleman.
Thank you.
And it's just, what a great place to live. You
It
get
is.
to know,
Yeah.
You hear a name and you say, I know that family. We know families. We don't just know people. We knew the whole family. So welcome. Well, tell me a little bit about your involvement with Operation Our Town.
Well, we were somewhat newer to the organization, and I'm not sure exactly how we missed out on the beginning, but for whatever reason we did. But I got a call from one of the key members here, Ron McConnell, a few years ago, mainly just asking us to come alongside, told us a little bit about what they were doing, and I said, sure. That's something very important to the community, something we can help out with. Our employees all live around here, and they want to have safe communities. They want their kids to do well, and this is a part of helping in that effort. So
Now, tell me, Matt, could drugs directly affect your business?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah. I mean, in a lot of ways. Obviously, my biggest focus would be on the folks that work for us, and wanting them to do well. It's pretty hard to hold down a good job when you're more interested in, like we were talking about getting the next high, whatever that is. Yeah. So, we want to create an environment where people have opportunities to grow and to take on, new opportunities, whether that's within our company or with their family or in the community. And it can just be such an impediment to that we want to limit that as much as we can.
Have you been happy with your involvement in Operation Our Town?
Yeah, I've really enjoyed getting to know some of the folks that are behind it, especially some of the law enforcement. I was actually just at their event here last night, and got to hear from the assistant district attorney and some of the other folks that are behind the effort. And I think that's key because a lot of times law enforcement and business just doesn't interact for whatever reason. And to have them, really push in the same direction, I think has been really beneficial.
Yeah, that's very interesting when you mention law enforcement, because that's usually how I'm recognized. That's him, officer. Anyhow, so you got involved in Operation Our Town. In your business, you've been involved in a lot of community projects and things. Yeah. Have you had any direct experience with the drug scene?
Well, thankfully, I was able to avoid that as a youth, and not as much personally. But I know.
Excuse me, you're still a youth.
Okay.
Okay, go ahead.
But I've seen some of my friends' families that, like you were saying, what we would call good families that have had some or a couple of their kids get involved with that, and they're still having issues. And
that's tragic.
It does break your heart. It's really sad.
And you're actually from a generation that's probably much more familiar with this than when Bill Thompson and I grew up. It was like almost unheard of to do drugs. But your generation, it's there.
It is. It's
part of the culture.
It's a very big temptation. The kids, if you're going to go to public school, you're going to be exposed to it. And so that's all the more reason why we need some influence saying, hey, this is not the only option. This is not what's cool. And this is something that here's a better way. Here's some alternatives.
But the fact is, your family and your business goes even beyond just Operation Our Town and dealing with drugs. You also are big supporters of a couple other organizations that help young people. One of them is The Rock.
Yes. Well, the church I'm involved with, Second Avenue Methodist, we have an after-school program. Similar to, we've been very thankful for the support we've received from Operation Our Town. And it allows us to reach out to the kids right in our community, which is down on 2nd Avenue and 2nd Street, and right near where W&J School that actually just closed here. But so you drive through that neighborhood and there's kids just in the alleys and the streets hanging around. Young kids, 8, 10, 12 years old. So this gives them some tutoring. It gives them some positive activities to do. Other than whatever they might gravitate towards, and hopefully it gives them even a further step from that we address through some of the faith components that are a piece of the puzzle too.
It's interesting you mention that because Halloween,
right?
They have a very nice.
Yeah, we did a big trunk or treat. So it was actually the week before Halloween.
Right.
We had partnered with a couple of the other churches in the community.
My wife and I were driving.
Yeah.
That's our old home neighborhood.
Oh yeah.
And we were driving through the neighborhood, and I saw these young children dressed up, and I thought, well, they must be going to their aunts or uncles or grandmas for Halloween. But they were. Then we passed where this activity was taking place, and I thought, wow, what a terrific idea. You know, I guess we talk about pushing out the pushers. We talk about drugs, but Operation Our Town really is about helping young people avoid the problem.
Right.
And the Rock does that, but you're also involved in a couple other groups. Young Life?
Young Life is a high school focused ministry that happens in Hollidaysburg High and Altoona High currently in Blair County. And same thing, they give the kids different activities they can do throughout the school year. They do a big camping program every summer where they take kids away for a week and expose them to a positive message, a message of hope and faith that can ultimately be a better answer than some of the things that they'd be exposed to otherwise.
Alternatives. That's what we're really giving these young people is alternatives. You don't have to do drugs to have friendship and to have fun and to do those kind of things. Matt, first let me congratulate both you and your family, because I know this is a family thing.
Absolutely, yes.
And like I said, and having known your grandfather, I'm sure he's very proud of you. Very proud of you. I'm proud of you. I'm proud to know you.
Well, thank you.
You're a fine young man. I need all the young people I can get. I'm running out of pallbearers. Tell me, if you were going to convince another organization to participate in Operation Our Town, what would you say to them?
Well, I encourage them to just come to one of the events that's going on and get to know some of the folks that are involved. Like you said, we've kind of touched most every end of the business community, as well as some of the law enforcement, some of the service agencies and things like that in our town. There's just such a positive momentum behind it. I don't know how you wouldn't want to get involved. And it doesn't have to always be financial. I mean, a lot of it can be, volunteerism, supporting some of the agencies that Operation Our Town supports. There's lots of different ways.
You're absolutely right, Matt. No wonder you're a good salesman. It isn't about just the money. It's about participation in all kind of ways and doing all kind of things. And I hope our audience appreciates the fact that these people are not only running a business, they live in this town, in this community, and they participate. And the fact that they're involved so deeply and so much, I hope you think about that when it comes time for you to do your shopping and get involved, because these people are giving back. We need to give back to them. We need to support you. And tell me do you have a family, Matt?
I do. Actually, we just had our second son. So I have 2 boys now. I have about a 3-year-old and an infant right now.
Congratulations.
So, thank you. Yeah.
So you really are checking out for their future, too.
Sure, yeah. Well, and that's what it's all about, right?
And when you're talking to these young people, and I know you talk to young people. Sure. What do they tell you? Do they ever give you any hints, like, I wish there was some alternatives, or what else can we do?
Yeah, I mean, I think the generation coming on right now, the millennial generation, as it's been called, is a little bit different animal. I'm actually, believe it or not, at the very end of that, and technically not a millennial. But I can at least relate to mostly what they're thinking, and they've been influenced by so many different messages. It's everybody has a smartphone now, and it used to be the family sat down and watched television in the evening, and you saw a few ads, right? Well, you're bombarded with messages 18 different ways all day long. So one of the I think the real benefits to that is people are exposed to lots of different options. So not everybody wants to go down some of these paths we're saying we want to help people avoid. So there is an opportunity, I think, on the other side of that as well.
I bet you're a great role model, Matt. I mean, I'm serious. I bet you're a great role model, and I wonder today who these young people's role models are. I ask them, and quite frankly, I hear names like singers or TV stars or whatever, and I say, what happened to the John Waynes, and how come, my hero growing up was Fatty Arbuckle, and I grew up to be just like him.
Well, that's all the more reason why we need to support these community agencies, because quite frankly, a lot of youth aren't getting that at home, and if they can come alongside a teacher or somebody that's really trying to help them, that can give them a vision of, hey, here's what I can do with my life. That's what we're really hoping to be able to do through this organization.
That's fantastic. And you're right about the communications. These cell phones and toys, I see families go to dinner, and they sit down, and the father's on and the mother's on a device, and the daughter's on a device, and the son's on a device, and I just want to go over and say, talk to each other. I actually did that about a month ago, and I'm embarrassed, but I did it. 2 young people in the restaurant. My wife and I are having dinner. 2 young people, attractive young people. He's on the phone. She's on the phone. I went over to their table, and I said, "Excuse me, sir." I said, "This is an attractive young lady sitting here. If you're not going to pay attention to her, would you mind if I sat with her?" his face got a little red. I don't know whether they were a boy or girl, whatever. His face got a little red. And I said to her, I said, "Excuse me, young lady, this is an attractive young man sitting here." I said, "Could my wife come over and sit with him if you're not going to talk to him?" Well, they both laughed a little bit. And you know what? They put away their phones.
Good for them. Yeah.
And they talked to each other, and we laughed, and then we maybe talked together. But I thought, gee, I guess it's a habit you get into.
Well, we're relational beings, and so people want those relationships, and if they're not finding it person to person, then unfortunately they find some of that electronically.
I wish I knew how to turn a phone on. I could talk to people too. Of course, I don't have any friends, but I just call wrong numbers and say hello. Tell me what you'd like to happen in the future, Matt.
Well, we'd really like to see the community grow. Obviously, from just a total population standpoint would be great, but also within the folks that are here to provide new opportunities for people to have the kind of careers they want to have and family and just all the enjoy some of the great things we get to do around here. So we obviously want to try to limit some of these negative influences and steer people in a more positive direction. So.
Matt, you're a wonderful influence in our community. You've got to be the pride of your grandfather and grandmother, and I'm just proud to know you. You're a fine young man. Thank you so much for being part of it.
Thank you for having me. Yes.
Well, enjoy.
Appreciate
We're
it.
going to be back in just a minute with Natalie Lombardo, and you're going to hear from another very interesting young lady. Be right back, folks. Welcome back. I'd like to introduce our show now, Natalie Lombardo-Beaver. Natalie, welcome. Good to see you again.
It's a pleasure to be here.
Always a pleasure to be with you, and welcome. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Natalie.
Sure. I am the campus president at YTI Career Institute, our Altoona campus. We have 4 locations throughout Pennsylvania, and we're here on Fairway Drive in Altoona. We offer a variety of programs, both from business, computers, criminal justice, and of course medical programs. We have a total of 8 at our location in Altoona.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
And can you share with us any idea of your student population?
Sure. Currently we're around 270 students. And we have a wide variety of students. We have ones that have just came from high school, as well as non-traditional students, some that have worked in fields outside of the ones they're studying for 30 plus years and may have experienced an unfortunate layoff or just looking for a career change. So we have a very diverse student body.
That's wonderful. Congratulations. I do pass your campus all the time on my way to my doctor's appointments.
Stop in sometime.
Yeah, I have been in there, and it's a great institution.
Good, thank you.
Tell me, why would an educational institution be involved with Operation Our Town?
Sure. Well, with YTI, we support our students not just educationally. We have a student services department that we take a lot of pride in because we provide them with resources, opportunities, activities for them to be involved in. Some of our student body have not participated in any extracurricular activities in their past. So we provide them with that opportunity to be a part of a team, participate in Skills USA or National Technical Honor Society, or be a student ambassador. And also, on the other end of that is provide resources to our students. So there are many students, unfortunately, that have had to take advantage of the resources offered by Operation Our Town or Family Services or Billetter Drug and Alcohol, but it's really great to know that we have that partnership and that line that we can call or refer them to those individuals that can get them professional help.
That's right. You're in that student age base that seems to be most susceptible to the process of becoming more involved, and so you're right on the forefront of prevention. Can you tell that it's working? Are there examples that you might share?
Yeah, I mean, it is working, and we have provided several students with information. It may not just be for them, but a lot of our students have children, and they may be seeing signs or thinking maybe their child is using, or their brother or their husband, and will come to us for help. And like I said, it's really good to know that we have that partnership with Operation Our Town and Blair Drug and Alcohol to be able to provide them with that information of lines to call or just signs to look for, and just provide them with that support.
Natalie, it would seem to me that the networking opportunities of Operation Our Town also provide opportunities for them to recognize the value of your student base toward perhaps their business. Is that a possibility?
Yeah, absolutely. And one of the programs we offer is criminal justice and first response. So they have participated a lot through volunteering with the Operation Our Town. You know, we try to provide students all the programs, but specifically that one, and that really gives them an opportunity to connect with our local law enforcement and the team at Operation Our Town and some of the other agencies in the area, which when they graduate, those are the types of positions that they could possibly get into. So they've made a lot of great connections. We've had a student play McGruff the crime dog in the past and participate in the Duncansville crime event that they do out there, crime awareness event. So it does provide them with an opportunity to really meet a lot of people.
That's terrific. And what was your background? How did you, are you originally from Altoona?
No, I'm actually from Newcastle, Pennsylvania. My husband's from here in Altoona, so we're back in this area. And I started with YTI about 6 years ago in their admissions department. Worked for our home office for a while in York and landed in this role about 2 years ago. I have participated with Operation Our Town for the last few years. I sit on the marketing roundtable with you, Dean, and have found that has been a really great experience to be able to give feedback and meet new people through that avenue. But that's my background.
That's wonderful. So you came here because of your husband and
the opportunity with YTI Career Institute.
Well, I'm glad you're here.
Yeah,
you're a welcome addition to the community, and you're active in the community. And again, young people such as yourself and Matt, you're in that age group where you can maybe have more experience with people actually being on drugs, or people you know have been on drugs, and that's got to tear your heart out sometimes when you think about a friend who may be having problems.
It does.
And do you think Operation Our Town helps those? I mean, I'm sure it helps, but tell me how you feel about Operation Our Town and helping those situations.
I think it's a great organization, and I encourage any business, especially education institutions, to get involved. Not only from the financial standpoint, but also with the volunteer opportunities. Our student body, we have, like I said, on average around 270 to 300 students, so we can really make an impact with those individuals, and it also helps them get prepared for their employment after they leave here. You know, we have programs that are going to require drug tests and clear backgrounds. So as we participate with Operation Our Town and provide these resources, these students are able to be educated and to know how important it is, not only just for their well-being, but also with their employment when they leave there.
Now, does YTI have a football team?
No football team.
Do they have a band?
No band.
So there's no place for Bill Thompson and I.
No.
We just
You're welcome
have to
anytime.
be students. We just have to be students. We can't come on a scholarship to play the music or to play the football team. Well, Natalie, tell me, if you see these young people every day and you hear their problems, and if you could do one thing to change, maybe make their life better, what would you do?
I think provide them with positive opportunities. Recently, we've started in the last year or two just a lot of different organizations through the school, and allowing these students to be a part of something, to feel valuable, not just within the academics, but they're doing community service and they're out giving back. Also competing. We have Skills USA. We sent 5 students to nationals this year, which has been great in Kansas City. So it gives them an opportunity to be around positive influences and give them something else to do, school related, and it's positive.
Yeah, that's wonderful. Congratulations. And you know, I guess I guess one of the things looking toward the future is that we need more young people to recognize that they too are role models in a sense to younger people, to them. And the fact that you have people out doing on-the-job training kind of, that's got to be a great influence in the rest of the community.
Yes.
Has anybody have you ever had a drug situation at the college?
No, but I mean, we've had students that have been concerned about their loved ones, and maybe they have a past that there was drug use involved. So we want to be there and provide those opportunities for them, and the resources to be able to get help if needed.
If I had had a drug problem and I was in recovery, would I have any problems gaining admission to your school?
I mean, it depends. Each program has admissions requirements that have to be met, and it's based on what's required from us from employers. They give us feedback. We meet twice a year. We have advisory boards, and they give us feedback on what industries you may need background checks for, who needs a driver's license, who needs a drug test. So if a student is able to come in, and we'll do the best that we can do to help them and provide them with opportunities in programs that we want them to be employed, which is why those admissions requirements are in place. Such as a pharmacy technician, we do require that they get a drug test for obvious reasons, like Mr. Thompson had said. They're working in a pharmacy with drugs, so we want to make sure that they are able to be employed. So that's the reason those admissions requirements are in place. But we welcome anybody to come into the school, check it out, and really sit down with one of our admissions personnel where they can kind of gain your interest and learn a little bit about you, and then see what program would be the best fit for you, and if those admissions requirements are going to be attainable for you.
The cost of colleges has really increased recently. Looking back at my own high school career, my family wasn't able to financially support me to college. They did, but I let them down. But if I were a young person today, I graduate from high school, I'm drifted around a little bit, I don't really have a focus. Would it be worth my while to come and talk to somebody at YTI?
Yeah, absolutely. I think the important thing is there are options. There are a lot of options, and we are just encouraging high school seniors, and anyone for that matter, to look into those options. Whether it's a four-year school or the military or career school, there are options to be successful. But if you are looking for training that's 9 months to 21 months, we go straight through. It's industry modeled. It's a hands-on education, and if that's something that you may be interested in, and we'd love to have them come in and talk to us.
Yeah. As we're talking, I'm painting a picture in my mind of Operation Our Town. We've talked to people from pre-K programs. That's before kindergartners, right? Which tore my heart out. We talked to people from La Rock who are after school and now after graduation. So Operation Our Town really has kind of blanketed the spectrum of involvement, not just trying to punish people who are on drugs, but trying to prevent them from being on drugs, and then trying to get them off of drugs and get them back into productive society. I mean, folks, I can't encourage you enough. I'm sitting here with a young lady who every day helps young people help themselves. I'm asking you to help us do that. We've talked about volunteerism. There's so many opportunities. We've talked about send them $5, send them $10. Do something to help and to show support. Sometimes the money itself is less meaningful than the participation, which gets the attention of politicians and people who control other purse strings that contribute back into our community. So don't just sit around and wait for something to happen. Make it happen. Make it happen because you did something. Pick up the phone, call Operation Our Town, call somebody, say, how can I help? Let me volunteer. Natalie, I'm so proud to have you in our community, and not only because of your beauty, but because of the intelligence and the kind of things you bring to us. Tell me what you've been in Altoona. What's your opinion of not Altoona, Blair County. What's your opinion of Blair County?
It's funny because before I had moved here, I didn't know much about Blair County, and I've been pleasantly surprised in the 6 years that I've been here. There is a lot to do, and there are a lot of opportunities. And my hope is that we can continue with Operation Our Town and build the awareness and make this an attractive place for businesses to want to come in and people to want to come to school here and stay here, after they graduate from school or come back if they go away to college, because there is a lot of opportunity. I think Operation Our Town, by making it a safe place and having the community involvement, will hopefully achieve that goal.
Natalie, thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Oh, thank you.
It's a pleasure.
We're going to be right back, folks. Be back in a minute.
Operation Our Town is reaching out to groups in our community every day, helping groups like The Rock. The Rock is a nonprofit organization hosted by the United Methodist Church in Altoona. They received a grant in 2009 from Operation Our Town to help fund their program.
Operation Our Town has been essential to our growth and basically our survival.
The Rock program runs every Wednesday evening and provides a safe, fun environment for school-aged children.
My favorite part about the Rock program is just being here with friends and learning about different things every week.
Children attending the program participate in after-school activities and are fed a warm, home-cooked meal every night. Operation Our Town's goal is to take back our neighborhoods and to create community-minded citizens for a better tomorrow.
Welcome back. We're joined now by what I feel like is family today. This has been a really comfortable and informative show. We've got Matt Stuckey from Hollidaysburg, and Natalie Lombardo-Beaver from YTI, and Mr. Bill Thompson from Thompson's Pharmacies, and Lisa Michelone from Reliance, and Dean McKnight from Outer Space, or wherever we're going here. But it's been a fun show, guys, and I've learned an awful lot. Matt, tell me about what kind of challenges do you guys face as employers today in this environment?
Well, probably one of the biggest challenges is just recruitment. Our business has been able to grow a bit the last few years, and every time we're hiring, we're looking for the right kind of applicant for whatever position that is, and obviously their background is a big portion of that, but also them choosing the type of career that we're looking for, or the position we're looking to fill. Just find that fit. It's always a challenge.
And Natalie, how about you? You hire people up there.
Yeah, I mean, we've had really good luck with the people that we've hired. We have a great team at YTI. I think more so for us is our mission is to get our students employed and to find them employment. So that's where this whole thing can affect us, is we want them to be able to find gainful employment and try to prepare them for the workforce after.
How about you, Lisa?
We've been very blessed. We have a long-term employee base, and we've had a lot of people there for quite a few years. But hiring today, again, is finding and recruiting the right people for the jobs that we have. Some of the jobs are varying hours. It might not be full-time to start with, so that is an issue sometimes.
And please congratulate your new president, Denny Dahl.
I will.
Fine young man, and he's been a great asset to the community.
Yes, he has.
Mr. Thompson, how about you?
I think one thing that's helped our business is we do drug testing before they're employed, and we tell them that. And some don't show up for the interview and all that when they're told that, but and some of them sneak through it. They don't get through the drug test, but they go off something. But later on, we found out we've had to get rid of some really fine people. We do random drug testing later on. Being the business we're in, we just can't have that in our business. So when we did the random, we got rid of an individual I couldn't believe who was on marijuana, and we just don't allow that.
It's so sad, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
It's so sad. It not only, I'm sure it affects them, but it affects you.
Yeah.
You get close to people. Mm-hmm. You get close to people.
You do.
Bill, I heard a discussion about a month ago, which kind of shocked me. This area, I've always been proud of the work ethic in this area. I know that the Blair, the opportunity groups and the Chamber of Commerce and Blair County Development Corporation, we always bragged about the work ethic. But I heard some prominent business people talking about the fact that they're a little concerned about the work ethic today of some of these young people. Have you any observations about that?
Well, as a whole, we haven't, but you always have one or two that might go that way. But what are you going to do? You're going to get rid of them, unfortunately to say. But as a whole, I think we've had a really good base.
Lisa, do you have any trouble getting workers? Well, you have a long-term staff over there.
We have not seen that at the Reliance Bank.
Nobody quits. They're having a party.
I know, they love it so much.
They're having a party. They get free lunch.
Wouldn't go that far.
How about you, Natalie?
Yeah, we really haven't either, but the faculty that we hire needs to come with at least three years of experience working in the field. So that's part of the requirement. So it kind of helps as they build their careers up a little bit.
And Matt?
Well, we hire all skill levels and all experience levels as well, from entry level folks right out of high school or right out of some kind of training, all the way up to folks that have already put part of their career in somewhere else and are transitioning into a different role with our company. So we've certainly seen some of that. We talked a little bit about the millennial generation coming on. The work just looks a little bit different to that generation than I think it does to certainly some other folks. There's some challenges there, but there's also some opportunities, and so I think you kind of need to just figure out what the role is and how you can find the right person to fill that role. I think really the fit is the key. That's one of the things we look at.
Thank you. Natalie, you talked a little bit about volunteerism and the fact that you encourage your students to do. Tell us a little bit about their participation in the community and the things they do from a volunteer standpoint.
Sure. We do require community service for all of our programs, but many of our programs go above and beyond that. We will go into daycares and talk about dental health, or most recently about germs and the flu season within the daycare. We participate heavily with the Gloria Gates after school program, do different school supply drives, family services as well, the American Cancer Society, just getting them out there and really having that opportunity to give back to the community and make connections as well.
Thank you. You mentioned a name, and I have to stop for just a minute. Dr. Gates, Dr. Zane Gates. I finally met him. It was at a dinner party, and I finally had an opportunity to meet him. And I'll tell you the truth, I'm in his fan club. He's just a wonderful man and has given so much back in ways it's just hard to describe. And folks, if you have an opportunity, there's one of the things that you may want to think about. Dr. Gates, if you know him, thank him. And if you don't know him, you should meet him, because he's a special man. How about you, Lisa? How about your volunteer program?
Oh my, it would be hard to find any employee that doesn't volunteer one way or another. We have so many different, again, organizations that we support as a bank, but the employees also support as many, just as many on their own. So, the same ones, American Cancer Society, the Chamber, all the different projects that we're involved with. But yes, we're always doing something, whether it's contributions or, more importantly, volunteering our employees' time.
Along with the employees' time, Bill, there's also your time. And I know you're involved in a lot of things in the community, and thank you for that. And tell us a little bit about the rewards you get from that.
Well, we've supported, I like to support education. I had a mentor that helped me, and that's my way of giving back, and I support the SOAR program at Altoona High. Students that would never get to college any other way, and I really am behind that program quite a bit, and I believe in that. These students are really smart enough to get to college. It's just they just don't have the financial means. So SOAR is what puts them there, and very proud of that more than anything. I think that I'm in a lot of different organizations, but I'm very proud of SOAR.
Bill, I don't know that I've told you this story before, but I'm going to tell you now, because
how long is it?
It's a long story, but it's a short moral. I was talking to a lady, and she told me that she worked at your drugstore, and I said to her, well, how's your family? And she said, well, great. My daughter's in junior out of college, and everything's doing well. And I'm going to have to tell you, in my mind, I thought to myself, man, she got a daughter in Juniata and she's working. And I said,
Thompson.
how could she? Yeah, this Bill is a good payer. I should quit the bank and go with Bill. And she looked at me and she said, Mr. Thompson's paying her way. And I thought, you know what? That's what it's about. That's what this area is about. People doing things without anybody knowing. Okay, and I know you would have never said anything, and that's why I'm saying it, Bill, because I'm not just proud that you're my friend. I'm proud that you're my neighbor. You're a good man.
Well, come up and do my walk this winter.
I was hoping you'd do mine. Matt, how about you?
We certainly support all kinds of different organizations throughout the community. One of the ones I'm most excited about here that we're going to be partnering with later this year through the holiday season is the Salvation Army. So Subaru, one of our brands, has a program where they make donations targeted into community organizations, and we've chosen to partner with them through the holidays here. So that's one example, but our folks do volunteer a fair amount of their time as well. We've gotten involved with some of the things that the YMCA has been doing with their Community Wellness Challenge here the last couple of years, which has been a good thing. They're getting hundreds of people out for some of those walks and races and things like that. So,
Matt, your company, Stuckey Subaru Ford, has just been a leader in that kind of thing, and it's witnessed in the community, and people recognize that. And your family has been very active, and I'm proud. That you're, and like I said, I'm sure your grandfather and your grandmother, not that your mother and dad aren't proud, but I'll tell you, when you're old, you go back a long way. We've talked a little bit about hero. Can one person make a difference? How does one person make a difference, Lisa?
Absolutely they can. They believe in themselves. They can encourage others, and those people then encourage more people, so that one person that has that passion and belief in what they're doing absolutely can make a difference.
That's it. And your Bill, your son Bill, he's making a difference. I see him in the community, and I see him doing things. You got to be proud of him.
I'm a fill-in. He's golfing.
Glad you're here.
I'm kidding.
You got to be proud of him.
I am very proud of him. He's had the business in his hands for some time now, and he's, like Matt, keeping our tradition going, and he's done a fine job. We also have a pharmacist that won the National Preceptor of the Year. That's somebody that teaches other students, and out of 66,000 people, a young man from Altoona, Pennsylvania, was named the Preceptor of the Year in pharmacy. So we're proud of that.
Don't keep us in suspense. Give us a name.
His name's Pete Crackle, and he works at our Broad Avenue store. A little plug there, I guess.
Yes.
We've had Pete on this show.
Have you?
He's a bright guy.
Yeah.
Did you get to say anything?
No, I was on more drugs than he sold. And that's, Bill, quickly, I'm sorry to digress here for a minute, but let's just talk about that. Senior citizens and drugs and pills that aren't, people get off prescriptions, get on prescriptions, and all of a sudden you got bottles of pills laying around. How big a problem is that?
It's a big problem, Dean. I think that's one of the nice things that Operation Irontown does. They have a brown bag day that they take their old medicines to certain pharmacies and they discard them, and it's been very successful. And the state police is involved in that. It's just good for the community, but they let them lie around and they go out of date and they still take them, and it shouldn't be done. So you know how many meds you're on.
I've no room for food. That's why I lost weight. But anyhow, Bill, and then I guess grandkids get involved. I mean, there's Oxycontin and things, and the grandkids steal them, and that's so sad. Families having problems.
I've had some really good friends. It's tearful what happens, and they come in and say, "Can you help, Bill?" And we send them to somebody locally first, try to anyhow. And the problem is the child just doesn't stay there as long as they need to be. Pyramid does a nice job locally, many of them around, but they're all community-based.
That's something.
Yeah.
That's something. Matt, tell me about, you've been involved in Operation Our Town. Quickly, if you had one word to describe what they're doing, what would that one word be?
Partnership, I think, comes to mind. You know, and bringing all these organizations together. Obviously, the goal is to make our community a better place, but by partnering, especially with law enforcement and the business community, I think that's really powerful. And you know, that's a model, from what I understand, that is relatively revolutionary in this kind of a thing.
You are a smart guy. Thank you.
So.
Natalie, how about you?
Just a positive impact on a lot of people, and not just employers, but I mean everybody in the community, from just helping with a lot of the graffiti cleanups or the community days, and a lot of fun things they're doing. The Pumpkin Festival, I was there with my family. I mean, participating. You know, we had a student participate in that, so I just think a lot of the building a sense of community too.
That's wonderful. Lisa?
Passionate about the whole results that they're doing. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, and it should be. It's our community.
I mean, when Michael talks about it, it's just amazing how passionate he is about this whole program.
It's Michael Fiore we're talking about. Yes. Bill?
Well, I just think it's one of the best organizations in town that was brought up from the roots and brought up by a lot of different organizations, and it's just, I'm very proud to be a part of it.
Yeah. Folks, it's been a great educational morning for me, and good to be among friends. Matt Stuckey, thank you.
Thank you.
Please say thank you to your parents for bringing up a really great guy.
Thank you.
Natalie Lombardo-Beaver, thank you for coming to our community and making it a better place. Lisa, congratulations. You made me proud.
Thank you.
You're a businesswoman, upstanding in the community. And Bill, what can I say?
Be careful.
The guy is loved by everybody, known by almost everybody. And I'm just proud to say he's my friend and he's my neighbor, and we're all neighbors. This is our fight. This is our opportunity to take back our neighborhoods, and they are our neighborhoods. I don't want anybody telling me I can't walk in the streets at night. I don't want anybody telling me that I can't park my car and not have to worry about somebody breaking a window or stealing stuff out of the front seat. I want my grandchildren, if I had any, to be able to walk and enjoy the educational system and everything in this community. You need to help. It's our fight. Not mine, not yours, it's ours. Operation Our Town. Join us next time for another program, and I'm looking forward to seeing you. Thank you very much.